All right, Amanda, here is your spread. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at where we are, what you did with the majority of your time, an important day, another important day, your death, the lesson learned, and we're going to get clues as to the time period throughout. And your job is just to make the connections where you can between this life and your current life. All right? Okay, so we begin here in Asia, and what I immediately saw was not your typical civilization in China or Japan or anything like that. What I saw was a mountaintop community that was almost very isolated. That it was very isolated away from the normal civilization during a time when they would, for example, use birds for communication back and forth. And I feel like that's what they did. I see literally a hawk on someone's arm. And so what you did with the majority of your time here, this card now, here, this is the slave card. These cards are not always face value. So slave card does not mean you are a slave per se, because I'm not getting slavery. I'm getting you are a slave to your duty. You are a slave to your lifestyle in a sense where there was no getting out of it. Not necessarily that you really wanted out of it, because you might not have known any better that there was any other way, but that you were just such a hard worker at what you're doing. And I'm seeing a very a place that is mostly cold. I am seeing like if you were to put Eskimos on top of a mountain in like Tibet. I don't know all the countries there, so what I'm feeling is like Tibet, the mountaintops, those mountain peaks. It's vast expanses of beauty. You get beautiful views up there, but this is what you wake up to every day, so it's normal for you. And I feel like animals are a large part of your life, and so I'm trying to see what you do during your day. And I'm getting so in this life I'm getting like you're a woman, and I'm seeing this woman. The facial features of this is she has like a wide face, but not overweight or fat or anything like that. Like the face is just wider than it is longer, if that makes sense. But she's very pretty and plain, and I feel like this is basically, I feel like this is not as long ago as if you came across these people now, you would still think these people are living back in the 1400s, but yet they're living that way today. So I feel like what I'm seeing is not so far back, but it is a good chunk. I mean, at least, I want to say this is at least 100 or 200 years ago. So it's not like ancient times, but they live in a way that's kind of primitive, I guess. I think these people today, because I feel like there's a continuance on, like this is almost like, I want to say they're like a dying breed today, but that they're still out there. Because what I'm getting is flashes of this photo of an article of this girl who's the last one in the line of her family carrying on the language. And so that's kind of what's being referred to me, and I feel like that's what this is if these people that you were with still are alive today, there's only this one big community, but now it's dwindling as modern times are creeping up and the people are leaving to go kind of get out of this kind of lifestyle. Kind of like the Amish of this Asian culture, basically. Okay. And I want to say you really did work with animals. There was something with animals. Four-legged, but also birds. Something about birds. So in your current life, make connections. If you have any, like if you have a fondness or connection with large birds or animals that are almost like, I want to say, domesticated farm animals. If you like to go pet goats, if you like the idea of riding a camel, if you like the idea of seeing these animals and petting them and being near them, if you go to the zoo and you really like that, that's the kind of connections I want you to be making. All right? Okay. So let's go to your first important day here. So we see a trauma. Here's the trauma card. Trauma can be physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. And this card we're pulling up is the child card. And this is next to the betrayal card. And what I really see happening here is actually a molestation or a rape scenario. And it's such a betrayal because I feel like what's happening here is that there is a man who takes advantage of you and he has a partner. And I feel like in this community, there's something very sacred about partnerships and also monogamy. And I feel like the betrayal extends past you because you expect you would expect respect out of every person in this, I guess, tribe in a sense, but I want to say community. And you would never expect that to happen. Nobody would, really. And so it's a betrayal not just to you, but to also, his partnership and also to the community. This is a huge deal, and it is a trauma. This is something that really leaves a dent in you, in your soul. And the child part is actually the result of it. You do get pregnant from this, and there is a birth of a girl. There's a little girl, there's a birth here. And you love this little child so much, you do not give him up. People start to see over the years this child begins to look like him. So people talk, and it's almost like it's kind of confusing because in a way I feel like this community values men and women equally. However, I also feel like the blame would be more on you because I don't see you as married or partnered in this scenario, at least not yet. I don't see this happening. So it's almost like, oh, the single woman lured him away or something like that. No one realized that he took advantage of you, and you're just the kind that you're not speaking up. It's almost like you made a decision internally not to speak up because it's almost like you wanted, almost like on a soul level, you wanted to test the goodness of your people to see what would happen. It's almost like also I'm feeling like there's a trust in something greater, and a trust in whatever God these people worshipped or believed in. And you kind of gave it up to God, kind of like, all right, this is what's happening. The truth will eventually come out. And in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy my daughter. And you did very much. You both were very bonded here. And let's see, like I see her helping you gather things up for where you lived. And you lived in this, it was kind of like just a small kind of, it's mobile, okay? So I want to say that this community is also mobile. It's where you guys can easily pack up and go and set up camp and then pack up and go if you need to, but it's almost like you visit the same places over the course of a year. And she helps you with that. And there's really such a love here. And so, let's go to this second day. Actually, no, let me go back here because I want to say make connections here. There can be connections here for you, whether it's a feeling of, maybe you have a unnatural fear of men. Maybe you have an unnatural fear of being alone in dark places, more so than the usual, because us women, we always, look over our shoulder a little bit because we're, if we're smart at all. But you might actually have a bit of a paranoia, perhaps, about that, or you might even be very emotionally charged when you hear or read about victims of rape or molestation, especially women. So keep that in mind here as well. Keep that in mind. Keep in mind as far as a bond with your child, a bond that goes beyond mother-daughter, mother-child, just a very close bond where you want to have the kind of relationship where it is mother and child, but it's also a reliance on each other, but not in an unhealthy way, a healthy reliance. That might be something you either yearn for or experiencing, or would like, kind of thing. Okay, so just keep that in mind here. And also keep in mind too, you might actually have a desire to travel. You might really like traveling, and you might actually get impulses to travel, or maybe you even get impulses to look up houses online in places where you might want to live for some reason. And that could be because of the mobile life here, and you're so used to this routine and mobile routine of a lifestyle here that it might still be built into you where you like that. Or it can mean that you want stability, very much so. You see? So you can make these connections that way or this way. Now, the second important day. So what is happening here? Okay. So what we're seeing is, this is the move, move, move card. Let's go, let's go. And it is with the soulmate card. Now, soulmate does not always mean romantic. Your soulmate could very well be your child. And this is the disappointment card. So, let me see. I'm feeling like there's a possibility of you actually moving, getting out of the community. I actually feel that's what happens. But what happens is, I feel like there is a visitor to your campsite. This visitor is from a different place, very intriguing different place. At this time, you're still single. And you're very appealing in your mannerism, in your physicality. You're mysterious too. People don't understand why you're not married yet, or they don't really understand the background of you having a child and on your own without anyone to help, kind of thing. You're very independent. And so I feel like this visitor has come to your group almost like a research project for him. Like he's heard about this community. And he comes, and I feel like you make a bond with him, but it's not exactly this passionate, overriding love. I feel like there's this really deep, good friendship here, and I feel like for the first time, you let him into this secret right here about her, because this person, I feel like forms a bond with you and your daughter as a unit, and you actually use that as a way to give yourself the excuse to leave. You do love him. It's not so much as passionately in love, but a definite trust, loving bond here. And he is your way out, because honestly, by this time, you're kind of scorned. Your community cares about you because you're part of the community. You're one of them. All your blood flows together like it's the same blood. But there's a scornfulness about this life because of what happened here. So this person is your soulmate in a way. This person, basically on a soul level, they knew they would be coming in to come and help get you out of this situation, which you had to go through as one of your life lessons here. So that's why the bond was so strong. There's a very strong soul bond here. And the disappointment is the disappointing feeling of realizing that you really did have to leave them after all, because they could not basically make the right decision or think the right thoughts. It was very scornful. So you were kind of disappointed in your community, but you were very willing, happy, eager, interested, and in moving forward and going forward with this new life, despite knowing it would be very hard to get used to. You knew this person would take care of you, and I feel like he really did take care of you. So keep that in mind for your current life. This person is in your soul group. This is someone in your life, if they're in your life today, which I feel like they are, that you would, this is someone like a rock. This is someone, it doesn't have to be a lover, it could be, but it would be, if it was a lover, it would be someone that was also a best friend. So if that's your partner who's a best friend on a whole nother level, then this is your person. Otherwise, it could very well be a very close gal pal that you have. It could even be a family member. It's just that someone that you know won't judge you for being different, or won't judge you for choices that you make that would set you apart from your community, right? From society today. Choices and decisions you might be making might make you seem like you're setting yourself apart from society. Well, there is going to be someone who is a rock for you that you know you can trust with this information or your developments or whatever that is. So I feel like this is that person, and you're together on a soul level. I feel like you see each other a lot over the lifetimes, and it's a good steady relationship. Whew, all right, that's really interesting. So, okay, let's see. Also consider feelings of feeling separated as well from something you once knew, all of a sudden feeling kind of foreign in a sense as you move through your development, as you grow, as you get older. Things before that seemed like very important might seem trivial. People before whose opinions mattered might just not matter anymore because you're moving past that. So just keep that in mind. Now, your death. What happens here? This is the accident card, okay? This is the accident card. What's happening here? It has to do with your new life. It has to do with not knowing something in your new life, almost like I get the sense that in this new life where here you walked everywhere, here there might have even been some kind of vehicles already on the road, whether it's a horse and carriage kind of thing, because more than a wagon, like a carriage. Like, I'm not saying automobiles yet. I don't think there's automobiles here yet, and if they are, they're just being tested or something. Like, this is a couple hundred years ago. This is, I think, before the automobile. I'm just seeing like it's a very busy place, and I want to say you took the wrong step. There was something where you stepped somewhere the wrong way. And it wouldn't have mattered if you lived this life, because you just stepped everywhere here. You walked everywhere. You were in tune with the land. You were taken to a city. I mean, you were taken to a city. This is a city where there are rules to follow. There are new societal norms and regulations. And in fact, honestly, it has the feeling of being Pocahontas. This is the feeling of you being Pocahontas, stepping out of the woods and into this new world. And I feel like there's something like you got trampled by horses and carriages or something to that effect. So, wow. So what am I seeing? So literally I'm seeing you being trampled. And the road is dusty. And I think horses are involved. I know I think you might be an animal. I don't know, you may not be, but like in the case that you are an animal lover, this may or may not occur, that you may, for some reason, have a little bit of a kind of feeling when you see horses. Maybe not, but just keep that in mind. And also, you might be someone who really doesn't like traffic, driving in traffic. Maybe if it's a rainy kind of day, you don't want to go out into traffic. You might actually be really protective of people or others who are driving at the time and it's raining. You might be the person that's texting someone saying, be careful in the rain, that kind of thing. Or you just might be a very super careful person when it comes to stepping out into traffic or crossing a road. That's the connections I would try to make with this, but that is what happened. It was a misstep, and it was just because you were not used to your environment. Alright? So, this is interesting because this is the second time I had this lesson come up today. Dream big. Dream big. What a great lesson, right? So I think that what I'm getting is you really did end up eventually learning this lesson, because the moment you decided to take the step away from your comfort zone and go into a life that not only you knew would be maybe better for you, but also really when it comes to it, it was better for your child. You knew it. You knew this would be better for your kid, because you knew your kid would be be scorned. Even after you died, if you stay in this community, your kid would never live it down. So I feel like you really did. You took that big step and you saw a bigger picture out there, and you saw life more than just in this small community. You saw something greater. Even though you didn't know what it was, you stepped into the unknown. And yeah, you had someone trusted by your side, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't make it any less of a big deal. You really took a huge leap of faith here. And you also did really well by trusting in like the source, the higher power, whatever it is. I feel like that played a role in your life here throughout. And I really feel like you did learn this lesson. And so it's really what I'm getting to is that if there are risks coming up for you to take, I wouldn't be scared of them at all. I would use the fact that it's a risk to realize that the reward will be that much greater. all right? And you have every right to dream big and go after what you want, especially if I feel like motivation for you comes in the kid department or people under your protection, people who are under your, what's it called? Like the people you watch, the people you're responsible for. If you're responsible for people, I feel like you can use that as a motivation even to step out of your comfort zone to live life even bigger, how you might imagine it to be. All right? So, there's your past life. I hope you enjoyed it and keep making those connections, all right? Thanks for letting me read you.